Welcome everyone to episode 80 of the Missing Pieces podcast. If this is your first time watching or listening, as this is available everywhere that podcasts are available, my name is Greg, and this is where I sit down and I discuss my life, Lego, and anything else that's on my mind each week. Or we could use the other tagline that I thought of this week, which is Missing Pieces, the Lego podcast that's not about Lego. Both I feel like are appropriate. I think we're going to stick with the original, but I just thought that was funny, and I think it's awesome that I can have a Lego channel where I make Lego content, of course, but then I put out this weird thing each week that's like an hour long where I sit down and just talk about all these personal things and very little Lego. We'll talk a little Lego this week, but it's just a tiny pinch. And I think it's amazing that there are people out there, you, the person that's listening to this, I think it's amazing that you sit down and actually care enough to hear what I have to talk about. So thank you for taking time out of your day to be here. I love doing this. This is just like an audio journal of everything that's going on in my life, and I think it's going to be really great someday to look back on this and just be like, hey, what was happening in my week back in April of 2021? What was that like? What was my life? What did I look like? What did I sound like? Hopefully, I don't know. Should I start this over? Let's not go there. I'm going to talk to you guys about this week, which was a big one. I have so many things to discuss. We'll start all the way back last Sunday, which was Easter. I hope everyone had a great Easter out there if you celebrate such things, just like I said last week. And if you didn't, I just hope you had a great Sunday. We had an amazing day. We had our family over for Easter dinner. Cody prepared it, did an amazing job. I actually did turkey this year. We usually do ham. It's like a tradition. Where traditions come from, I have no idea. Sometimes you just do things because that's the way it's always been done. And there's a funny story about that, which I won't get into here about traditions, but we switched up this year because turkey was more favored among the family, and I was actually more interested in that anyway. But besides dinner, we had our whole family over, and it was a really nice time. I, of course, vlogged it, which if you're watching this today, it comes out. Ideally, you'll see that vlog the day this comes out. If not, it's over on Greg's World, which is my vlogging channel. And man, it was just a fun time. We did a little bit of Lego building that day. If maybe you can sneak that in there to get you interested in that. Just like I said, a little pinch. You put that in there, and maybe it's enough to draw you in. And once you get there, you realize it's something a little more special than just about the Lego, which is what I hope this channel is in its entirety. But Easter was awesome. We had dinner. Clark got some toys from the Easter Bunny and or us. I was a little confused as to how that whole situation worked. I kind of when I was showing him things, I was like, this is from the Easter Bunny. And then Cody was like, no, it's just the stuff in the baskets from the Easter Bunny. So I'm so confused as to what the Easter Bunny brings. But he got some Lego from me, apparently, and not the Easter Bunny. But the thing that was the biggest hit, it wasn't the Lego sets. It was the bow and arrow, or Bono arrow, as Clark Man calls it. He got this. It was from Amazon, I believe. Cody picked it up, and he just was thrilled with that. And I'd be lying if I said that I didn't participate in it either. You'll see that in the video if you watch it. But it was fun. Nephews came over; they got into it as well. We should have probably bought like a whole slew of them for the whole family and had a giant like bow and arrow fight on Easter. That could be a new tradition. I feel like that is the tradition that you want to bring forward. But I had a great time that day. Clark did as well. Easter egg hunt in the backyard. He got a whole bunch of money in there, which I don't know if that's common either. Do you guys put the little plastic Easter eggs that pop open? They put like dimes, quarters, nickels, and stuff like that and hide them throughout the yard. And then Clark goes out and finds them. And then it's always fun because you open them up and there's money inside. I think some people do like chocolate inside potentially. Some people I think maybe do like nothing inside. It's just about finding the eggs. I don't know. It's all these weird things that we do, and you just like, you do it every year, and you're just like, why do we do that? Probably because it's fun, I suppose. But Easter was great. Taking us to the next day, we're going to just kind of roll through this entire week like it's like a storyline here, I suppose. The next day, we ended up going to Lancaster, which is about maybe two and a half hours from where we live. And the nice thing about Lancaster is we have some friends there that we haven't seen in over a year. And the other nice thing about Lancaster is that there are shopping malls there and outlets there that you can actually like go to a place to shop, and it's not like boarded up or like completely dead like our mall is. It was really wild going there. And we had a great time. All of us made out like bandits. Cody found a whole new wardrobe of clothing that she liked from her favorite store. I went to my favorite store, which I won't say where that is because I don't, unless they want to sponsor me, that'd be amazing because I love their stuff. Amazing quality. But you'll see it in the vlog if you watch that. That'll be out probably this Tuesday if you're listening to this the day it came out. But I found a whole bunch of great stuff, and Clark did as well from his store that he goes to. And it's like, so we all made out really well. After we were done shopping that afternoon, we went over to our friend's place. They showed us like some things that they did for home improvements. We went out for dinner and had an amazing time. Brickitect may have had a couple sips of a little bit of a something, and man, I was feeling good. I don't usually drink ever. Like, it's not my thing. I'm not into that scene. But like when you go out for dinner and like you're having a good time, you had a little something, and it was fun. If you guys want to see a video of me doing this once before, oh my gosh, it was from our Cape Cod trip several years ago. You'd have to really go back in the archives to find this. But I got pretty messed up at this restaurant, Cape Cod. I'll give you the backstory. I'm not promoting drinking by any means. Like I said, I don't typically do it, and I'm a person that I have a very addictive personality, as you may know, and maybe some of you guys are like this. And I know if I ever took up anything like that, like drinking, smoking, drugs, whatever it is, it would consume my entire life and just completely destroy me. So that's why I don't get into those things, because just like you see with video making, like, which I consider to be maybe like a healthy hobby, you take on an unhealthy hobby, things get bad. So don't even start, guys. Don't even start. But at this restaurant, this is years ago in Cape Cod, we ordered this martini sampler, and it came out in like this row of all these little glasses with all these different colors in it of various liquids. Again, I don't know anything about alcohol. So Cody tried one, I was trying it, and she didn't really like it. But I was like, dude, we just paid a whole bunch of money for this, so I'm not going to let it go to waste. So I started drinking these things. And I was just like, I'm pretty sure my eyes weren't open, but they like felt like they were open. And then our food came, and I don't remember what I ordered. I think it was like some type of steak and like these mashed potatoes or something, but it was so amazing. I don't know if it was made better by how I was feeling at the time, but I was just sitting there eating this like amazing meal, like with my eyes closed, like eating this, and I'm just like in heaven. It was amazing. And I was able to film some of it, and I think it turned into a pretty funny vlog. I can't remember what I titled it because it was so long ago, but if you want to see an embarrassing moment of me, that was probably it. But I was feeling like that with this, and we just had a great time chatting with them. Clark was amazing. Like, he went with us as well, and he sat there like a polite young man. We didn't bring like any toys in, no devices, and he just was really good about being there, and I was super impressed. I see a lot of kids sometimes that always need to be babysat or pacified by a device, like even in the grocery store. And this is getting a little off topic, but what is on topic these days? I see kids like on iPads as they're like in carts as parents are going through the grocery store. And I'm just like, dude, you are literally in one of the most stimulating environments that you could possibly be in, which is the grocery store. There's products everywhere. There's people. There's things happening. It's colorful. Why are you on a device? And what is that going to do to your kids' mental state as they get older and they become reliant upon that? It's like that dopamine hit is a dangerous thing, and I think a lot of us have felt that before. And if you get that too early, doing the normal things or boring things in some cases, like sitting in school all day, you can't do it. You can't cope because you're so used to that stimulation. So if you are a parent out there and you feel the need to pacify your children with devices or technology or whatever, really like consider how that might affect them in the future. We try to limit screen time and that kind of stuff as much as we can. But again, I'm not here to give you advice. You do what you want to do. I'm just telling you what I think and sharing my opinions. And that's about all I got. You can take it, leave it. It's worth as much as you're willing to put into it. Such is life, though, right? Let's talk about the next day. We ended up leaving on Tuesday. After we actually stayed at a hotel because it was like a 2.5 hour drive. We knew we were gonna spend the whole day there. We knew like we'd be getting done late, and the hotel was so cheap. It was like one of the cheapest hotels that I've ever booked. A random Tuesday in Lancaster in April, it was like $99, and we stayed at the Hampton Inn, which I would say like it wasn't great. I'm a Hilton Honors member. Like the Hilton is the place that we love to go in Ocean City, Maryland. Hampton is like, they own Hampton, but Hampton I don't think is quite as nice. Hampton does have free breakfast, or so we thought. Prior to COVID they did. But it was like the first time that we like traveled in over a year, seeing our friends in over a year, like staying in a hotel over a year. It was crazy. It was like, wow, is this like what normal life was like? Because this is great. But we stayed there. Morning we got up for breakfast. It was literally like Nutri-Grain bars, And you could get coffee, but that was it because they don't want to get into all of that, which is probably pretty smart. I ended up coming home on Tuesday, and I had some phone calls to make. I ended up committing to getting the concrete poured out in our back patio here. I mentioned before, like under our deck, I'm trying to get like a spot where it's like all nice and smooth and like not stones, and I could put some stuff under there like our bikes and kayaks and all that fun stuff. I called that dude and I was like, let's do it. You know, if it's gonna cost me that much money, like I was not expecting that much, but I want it done. And if I'm gonna live here and I'm only got one life to live, let's get it done the way I want it. So I committed to that. He's gonna be coming out like late May-ish, I think. But while I was on a hot streak with phone calls, I ended up calling the local car dealer I guess I'll tell you what the car is that I was looking to get. I've been in the market for getting a bigger vehicle because we do like a lot of traveling in our Subaru, which I love. I have a Subaru Crosstrek. It's fantastic. It has been since we bought it brand new in 2013. It's been paid off for years and years and years and years and years, but I would like something a little bit bigger. Not saying like anything bad about the Subaru other than just the space. Like I've had people walk up to me and they're like, I love that car. What do you think of it? And I'm like, it's amazing except for like the rear hatch space. So I was looking to get like an SUV or something a little bit bigger, ideally with third row seating. That way if we go like traveling or if Clark has friends, which I think we're getting into that zone, you can have like two people in the front, you could have two people in like the back seats, and then the back area where like the hatches that comes up, you have like extra seats, so you can put two more people back there, or three, or whatever they say you could fit in there. But like if you're in the back, you're probably like a little kid. But I was thinking like if we go somewhere with my mother and father-in-law, they could pile in and Clark could go on the way back and it'd be great. So I've been doing all types of research on which type of cars to get, and I was gonna get a Subaru. In fact, I'm not gonna go too deep into this because I spent like a whole bunch of time talking about this on our Friday night Patreon stream. If you're interested in joining our Patreon, it's $5 a month, and we do live streams every Friday night. It's like a little family there, and it's like it's super personal and it's just awesome. And we have a Discord and all this stuff. So if you'd like to be a part of that, I'll put my pitch out here now. I'd love to have you. It goes a long way of supporting the channel. Like it's just a huge help, and it's if you're looking for a community of great people to be a part of, it's your place. So I'll put that pitch out there. So if you want to hear all about my car searching stories, it's there. I talked about it pretty much all Friday night. In fact, we even went through this book that I got in mail time. It's Consumer Reports that was sent to me by a patron, and it was interesting. It was fun. It really went off on that. I'm not gonna spend the time on that here because that's probably not why you're here. But needless to say, the top rated vehicle of all of the SUVs I was looking at, like I was really set on getting a Subaru. It turns out that a Kia Telluride, Kia of all companies, makes the best mid-size 3-row SUV, and I was kind of blown away by that because at least in my mind I pictured Kia and like Hyundai as being like cheap cars, and like if I rolled up in one, I think my family would be like, dude, you got a Kia? And I'd be like, yeah, like let me tell you about why it's so great. Needless to say, I did all this research and I committed to like, this is the vehicle I want after watching like dozens of YouTube videos and comparison videos, and they even like trashed my Subaru Ascent, which was the thing that I was going to get, but I turned out that I looked at one of those, didn't like it either. But I went to the Kia dealership and they're like, dude, we cannot get these in. We get them in, they're pre-sold before we get them. We have people coming from out of state to buy them. People are charging $10,000 over MSRP, and that dealership is charging $5,000 over the list price just because so many people want these. So I was like, I'm good. I'm not going to wait. They told me 4 months at the very least for like the color and trim level that I want, which I was going to get like a higher trim level with like this extra package put onto it. Because it's like the vehicle I'm going to have for like the next probably 8 to 10 years. So it's like you might as well get what you want. I keep telling you guys, you only live life once as far as we know, so you got to take advantage of it. But nonetheless, they told me 4 months at least. I needed this thing for like our summer trips and vacations because I want to have that extra space. So when we travel in the Subaru, that thing is packed. Like you can't even see out the back window. Like the back seat's full. Like it's a lot. But we've made it work before. I'm just looking, you know, it's time. So I was like, okay, let me go look elsewhere. I looked at the Subaru Ascent. Didn't like the interior of it very much. There was just some things I didn't like. So I went and test drove a Volkswagen Atlas, which is it's like a competitor to these. I like that a lot, but then I read some information about the reliability of these long term. And then I went down and test drove a Toyota Highlander, which was a hybrid. And I kind of like that, but I like the Volkswagen more, but the Toyota would be a better purchase in the long run because it's reliable. So that's where I'm at now. I'm thinking about test driving a Jeep Grand Cherokee because I love living the Jeep life. But again, Toyota seems to be like the probably the one to get. There's also Honda. I can do like a Honda Pilot, I believe. But anyways, I told you I'm not going to get into the car talk here. I'll probably update you as this goes on though, because it is like a big thing in my life. Like I've had my vehicle forever. This is like a huge purchase. Like it's a big decision. It's something you're committing to, which is like paralyzing for me because this is like one of the most important decisions you can make outside of like buying a house. It's like, man, you're gonna have this thing. Although you could trade it in 6 months from now if you want to and lose a pile of money. But I usually play long term here. If you guys haven't been able to tell, I get committed to things and I stick with it, which is I think a good trait to have if you're trying to be an achiever, I suppose. But it's also good to give up on things when it's not working. So that's fine as well. Sometimes it's good to say no, and it's good to quit things that aren't working, which we'll talk about a little bit later in response to me stopping the contests that I talked about in last week's episode, which if you haven't listened to yet, get over there and listen to it. Car hunting, we're kind of at a standstill there. I'm gonna like wait for the next nice day, like in the middle of the week when Clark's in school and no one's out car shopping, and then we'll test drive a Jeep and see how I like that. I think I'm gonna like it a lot, but then like the sensibility gods are gonna be like, it's a Jeep. It's a Chrysler product. It's probably not gonna. I know that's gonna trigger everybody. It's like the whole conversation in the comments about cars. It's hard to say a bad thing about Toyota, which is Cody drives a Toyota, and it's like she's trying to sell me to. But anyways, that's my car thing. I'll keep you updated as to how that changes and what happens with that as the weeks go by. Let's move on to the next part of things. Wednesday was kind of a day that I had to do some running. I had to get a little bit of groceries, had to pick up my taxes, cry myself to sleep when I saw how much money I have to pay into the federal government, that kind of stuff. But then Thursday was Clark Man's first day of school. Again, he's one of the few kids that gets a second first day of kindergarten, and it was awesome. It was, he had his outfit picked out. He had his book bag all together with like his little keychains and stuff on it, some of which you guys have sent him in the mail. And he was pumped. Got up that day. I filmed a vlog, of course, of his day. So everything that I talk about here, you'll be seeing in the coming week or so. But I was really nervous about him like getting to school and like how's he going to get in? How's he going to find his classroom? But we got there a little early. Kind of parked the car just to get the outlay of the land or the lay of the land or whatever. And buses came in, all the parents are kind of looped around, and then, you know, all the other kids are on like autopilot, so they just hop out of their cars and they go running in. But I took Clark and walked him up, and it was so awesome because as we're walking up, the principal was there, and she literally is like, Clark, like she was expecting him. Obviously, like, and there weren't any other parents out there like carrying a bag. Like I had all of his other books that they sent home with him, and like I was walking up with him, so I think she had an inkling because she knew we were coming that day. But she like super welcomed him in, made him feel good, took him up the stairs and took him inside to his classroom, and it was a good experience for him. He had an amazing day. He loves school. He loves his new teacher. He's got some friends. Like all the things that I was hoping for, all happened. But I have to be honest, I was worried. I was like, oh, please let this go well. And worry is one of those topics that I think we should talk about, maybe at length in some episode, but right now we can talk about it briefly. There was this quote, and I'm probably going to botch this, but it was like, I've worried about a lot of things. Some of those things actually happened. And the purpose of that quote is to think like, you know, think about all the things that you're scared of or that you worry about or you dwell on. And think about how many of those things don't actually occur and things go smoothly. This is one of those things. I should have just let go. I remember having a similar experience with that when we moved into our house, and I wasn't sure who like delivered or not delivered, but who took away the trash. I'm like, oh, who am I going to go to? I need to call some people. I need to figure this out. You know what happened when we moved in? I opened the mailbox, and inside there was a little postcard from the trash guy that delivered for the previous people. Obviously knew that they were moving, and he's like, hey, pick up your trash on Mondays. This is what it costs. Call me if you have any questions. And I was like, boo, okay. Why am I worrying about things that I don't need to worry about? But that's the type of person I am. I'm very analytical. I like to have a plan. I'm not a person that just kind of like just lets things go. And I wish I could be more carefree and like live laid back, but I don't think that's ever going to be me. I just can't do it. It's not my nature. So that was a good experience. Thursday also started the brickitect renaissance that I've been hyping up, I guess, for a while and getting excited about. And Thursday was a bit of a bit of a cluster because I came home and I was like, dude, we're going to stream me organizing my stuff, which the organization process has begun, which you've probably seen on this channel. So I got my live streaming channel all set up, ready to stream. Brickitect Live, by the way, if you're trying to tune into all of our streams, they're all happening over there. I was considering earlier to stream on Brickitect because I was like, that's where all my audience is. It'd be so easy, like, just to be live sometimes. But I like the idea of just letting the videos kind of like sit there on Brickitect Live as like public videos, and just having the people that want to watch live streams watch them instead of like polluting this channel with that kind of stuff. But yeah, I set up to stream for about 5 minutes. OBS was like, hey, we're not receiving any data or any information. Like, sugar shack. So I tried again, streamed for a couple minutes. Happened again. I tried resetting our internet. I came back like 3 or 4 times, and then eventually I was just like, I quit. So I checked my phone, and it turns out that Xfinity or Comcast, who is our provider, they were doing maintenance at the time. On my first day, like, this is gonna set me off. Like, I was all hyped, I was excited, like I'm like talking about like my plans and like Clark's first day, and it's just like, but one of my things that I'm trying to learn is even more so than not worrying is not letting external things affect me internally. You can't let stuff like that happen. So I just moved on with my day. It got fixed. I streamed with Craggle, built the Flying Fox, which you saw the video on that. At least I hope so. I guess I just assume that you're watching all videos. If you're here watching this, you probably have seen my videos this week. So let's just have that assumption, I suppose. But I've been streaming there, streamed on Friday as well. Just kind of breaking down sets. I'm in phase 1 of the organization process or progress, which is getting the sets that I've built that are just in boxes, like breaking down the boxes, putting them on my bins. I have a wall of bins in there, and my goal is to fill those bins and clear out the space in there and just get things really the way that I want them. Go through other stuff outside of Lego that is like not serving me, that I don't use or haven't used, and either sell it or donate it. Probably donate it, honestly. Just makes life easier. And just get my space to be a space where I feel at peace. I just want things to be very minimalist, very simple, and that is certainly not what that room is back there behind me with the Missing Pieces poster. That's my storage room, and I have big plans for it. So I'm bringing people along with me on that journey on my live channel and streaming it there. I'm also doing like little videos kind of updating things. I don't want to do too much of it because I feel like people are going to get bored of seeing me do this after a bit. But the conversation is awesome there. I'm actually surprised with myself, and I'm not trying to boast or anything. And I hope by now you know that I'm not like a bragger, and I hate it when I feel myself like saying something positive about myself, and I look at that and I'm like, no, like you can't say anything good. Like it's okay when other people do, and even that, like, you feel very like uncomfortable with, like, when people say good things, which is why I don't read the good things that people say in the comments, but or at least like on Missing Pieces. But I would say that I'm surprisingly good at like holding down a live stream. And it's crazy to me because, like, you would think, like, you sit down, like, you're going to run out of things to say or not having to talk about, but it just kind of flows for me. And I realize, like, what we're doing right now is what I love to do. I like just sitting down and, like, sharing my voice and my thoughts and things and, like, broadcasting. And I love having that audience that's there to, like, vibe with. It's really fun. And I'm excited to have more people, and the people that I think really are going to engage with that type of conversation, I'm excited to have them find us. So I'm really looking forward to that. I'm really excited to see where that goes, because I really, like, live streaming has been one of those things that's really captured me for a long time. I've tried resisting it. I've tried not going too hard in it. Like I told you earlier, like, it's very easy for me to just like just go all in on stuff, and then I end up regretting it because I get burnt out and destroyed by it. It's hard for me to find that balance that I desperately seek, and that's what this whole journey has been about, is finding that balance that eludes me and probably always will. But it's been fun. I've really enjoyed sharing like this new style of video. It's like a more calm video, not as chaotic as the Clark Man co-op videos. But it's fun sharing this journey and kind of creating those storylines that I love to make. And I've been so excited to see the positive feedback on this. It's given me such like a boost when I look at the comments on these new videos I'm putting out. And I was expecting like when you do a change over like this, like when it used to be just me, like people liked the channel. Then when Clarkman came on, people hated the channel. They're like, get rid of this kid. Like, we don't want him. And then like those people left and the new people came that like love the Clark videos. And then like now I'm kind of like, it's more of a solo thing during the week. And I expect like the Clark people to be upset, but it doesn't seem to be happening. Like everybody's just like super encouraging, and I see a lot of people getting inspired to clean their stuff too. And there's nothing that I love more than seeing like, hey, you inspired me to like make a step towards something that I want to do or to make my life better in some way. It's like, dude, if you can do that through a Lego channel, that's incredible, and I don't take that for granted. And I'm just so thankful to have this opportunity that I have, to have this voice that I can put out to the world, and that people watch and listen to. So thank you for all of the encouragement on my part. Like, it gets me going, and if I can get you going, it's like we can just make this a thing, right? So that was kind of like my up to my Friday. Then Friday afternoon, I wrapped that stream up, and then I got my first COVID vaccine, which was surprising. I got on Thursday night. I was looking at Pennsylvania, and they have like these phases, and I anticipate like by April 19th, like everybody's like open, and like it should be going like super fast. They're vaccinating people at a rapid rate. So I was like, let me just check my area, and I'll see if I can get in. Like, let me see if I can make an appointment, because all the grocery stores, all the pharmacies, they're all doing the vaccinations. Let me see. So I put in my zip code, and all these things popped up, and I just picked like the grocery store that we go to, because I was like, hey, why not, right? So I clicked on it, and in our area, in our town, there was no available appointments. But in the town that we used to live in, that I go to get my mail at, there was an appointment for 12:40 on Friday. So I was like, okay, let's do that. So I clicked it, all good. Everything was taken care of. And on Friday, I went in there, and it took me longer to fill out the paperwork. There was like 2 sheets of paperwork that you need to fill out. And all you have to do is just give me your driver's license, your insurance card, and had me go in, sat down, pulled up my sweatshirt, boom! Took like 0 time. Super nice lady there. The pharmacist was amazing. Didn't even feel it at all. And now they scheduled me to come back in 1 month for the second dose. It was the Moderna one. I wanted the Johnson & Johnson, which is what Cody got, because it's just a one-take thing. And it'd be nice just to have it done. But I have to come back in a month, and then she said about 2 weeks after that should be good to go. So I'm thankful for that. It's exciting to, I'm not going to get into the politics of vaccinations and whether you should get it or don't. And please don't put that in my comments. Like, if you feel negatively against it, just let people make their decisions on their own. I'm just explaining my experience with it, and I'm thankful that I got it, and I'm thankful that other people are as well, because I think it's going to go a long way towards getting us back to like a normal world that we can like do the things that we used to love to do in. So I was happy to get that done. And that was like pretty much like my week. Yesterday, though, I guess I could explain Saturday. We went out yard sailing yesterday. Found a little bit of Lego that I'll be sharing with here, I think this week with you guys. Nothing too amazing, but when something's cheap enough, and if you're just going to use it for parts and stuff, you're like, yeah, go ahead. So I got a couple things. I spent a total of $6 on Lego. And I got some sports cards, too. Got this big stack of sports cards for $2 that I'm going to go through. They're all, I think, all baseball cards. I'm going to try to find a card in there that's worth $5 is my goal. And then I'm going to sell it. I'm going to double my money. It's like buying a lottery scratch-off ticket almost. You know, you drop the $2, you'll see what comes out of it. It'll be fun to go through. And if there's nothing good, I'll just donate them or whatever. Or maybe when I do like giveaways or contests in the future, I'll sneak a couple baseball cards in there. Just a bunch of random stuff. Throw it all in there with you guys. But speaking of giveaways and contests and such, this next part of this is listener feedback, and we'll go through some things that you guys have said about last week's episode, and some things that I could kind of go back and forth with you on and comment on. This is the topic of canceling the contest. If you guys didn't see last week's episode, I talked about how I had this goal of doing a contest with a giveaway every single month for 2021, and I was all excited about that until I started looking at the numbers and realized that literally 1% of my audience, of people that actively watched the contest videos, are participating in it, and even fewer people are voting. So it led me to believe that like people just aren't interested in this. And the big contributing factor, as evidenced by a poll that I did, is that people just don't want to put the work in. If it was a giveaway, hundreds of people would be interested in it if all you had to do is leave a comment. But when you have to actually earn something, you need to put some work into it and like be creative and express yourself, even with all the positives that come of that, like getting encouragement or acknowledgement or practice or like building your channel up or whatever it is, people just don't want to put the work in. And it's sad, because I think that's like, it's that way for a lot of people. Like, a lot of people just don't put any effort into anything. So I told people on Patreon Friday night, as we're talking about, I think something like this, I was like, like if you put just a little bit of effort into anything that you're trying to do, you're probably going to be successful because the vast majority of people are putting zero effort into what they do, right? Like I think of like everybody's on a bicycle sailing down a hill, like a small hill, gradual hill. If all you did was rotate your pedals twice, think about how much further ahead you'd be at the bottom of the hill versus all the other people that are just skating along or cruising along since you're on a bicycle. I think about that sometimes, and it makes me sad to think about the number of people that exist just not putting any real effort or any drive into what they do. And they're like to waste your life or your time and not be driven towards something it's just something that I just can't accept. Like I'm a goal person, and if I didn't have a goal, I would be depressed. Like if I didn't have something that I was working towards or something that was off in the distance that I was striving towards, I just really have nothing. And those goals and that drive has given me everything that I've achieved, whether it be getting out of debt while I was working or quitting my job to do YouTube and putting the work into these things. Like if you don't have that drive, you're not going to make it. But that being said, if you just have a little bit of drive, you probably are going to make it further than what everyone else is, because there's a lot of people that just don't. So that's a long way of saying that I canceled the contest because people just don't want to put any work into it for the most part. There are other reasons as well, so don't get confused. Don't be mistaken by thinking that I'm just calling you lazy. It's just that's what more than half of the audience replied with is why they didn't do it. Some people just didn't want to put the time in, or didn't have the time, didn't have the pieces, don't have the creativity, at least in their mind, which I disagree with. Or just couldn't use Reddit, which is where the contests are being held. But that's fine. That's behind us. It makes me sad because I would like to do this, but it just makes no sense to dedicate 2 videos a month and my time, expense, and all of this stuff to cater to 1% of the people that are engaged with the other content that I do. So there's the long way of basically summarizing last week's episode. But let's talk about what Lego Legend Studio says. He says, great episode today, Greg. I understand why you made the decision to stop doing contests, but I can't say I won't be sad to see them go. I'm the same. I'm thankful that I had the opportunity to participate in one of them and gain support from it. After all, growing is about making additions and reductions. Can't wait to see the Renaissance and start of Classic Land coming up. Ooh, he got me. I do want to do Classic Land. Coming soon. I've been telling you guys that for years. Maybe I need to be driven on that. It's just priorities. I got to get this place cleaned up first, and then we're going to go into builds. Oh my God, my screen time. Let's not talk about that. I'm sad to see them go too, and I saw that with some other people too. Real and Random said, hey Greg, I'm sad to see the mock contest go, but you have a solid point. I myself skipped some because I was busy and when I could have made time for it, but maybe you can do a mock contest for Patreons or patrons. And there was a few people that said this. MJ Bricks also said that with the giveaway issue, if you still want to give sets away, what about your patrons or members? Just a way to give back to your supporters without wasting so much of your time. Just an idea. Love your videos regardless of giveaways. I appreciate that statement as well. You don't want to build your channel, and I've seen people do this where they build their channel off of giveaways, and that's not the type of people that you necessarily want like in your audience. If they're just there for that, you want people that are there for you, and they're not even just there for the products or whatever you share. Like my idea is like I keep this channel personal because I want you to come for the Lego, but stay for like everything else. Like to know that there's a bigger storyline behind this than sharing a Lego set or review or haul or whatever. But yeah, I'm sad to see the contests go. There's a part of me that just wants to say frigate with the numbers and just be like, you know what? If 40 people out of 3,800 that watch a video participate, so be it. But I do like the idea of giving to the patrons. I've actually been trying to figure out a way to provide more value to them. And these are the people that go way out of their way to support me financially. So I think it'd be right to do something like that. I did it before, but I kind of got in trouble a little bit because I did it as like a raffle where I just was like, hey, I'm giving this thing away. If you're interested in it, put your name on the list. And then I did the wheel thing that you can find online where you do a giveaway, and I clicked it and it spun the wheel, and then the person won. And apparently Patreon has a rule against like raffles and giveaways where you can't just have someone be a member and then have them randomly win because that's a raffle. You have to do something like what we do with the contests where people vote. Like I would either choose my favorite or the other people in Patreon choose their favorite and then give it away that way. But I'm going to find a way. Either that or we just do it completely off the books. And, you know, I was making the joke to these guys. I was like, I show something. I'm like, hey, I have this set. that I'll probably not have for very long. Does that make anyone sad? And then people leave their name, and then the set just kind of magically disappears without any interaction with Patreon or whatever. But I would like to do that, and I'm always trying to find unique ways to provide more value there, because I want to, personally, I feel like I'm in debt to these people, and I want to be like, you know what, I provide you way more value, hopefully, than what you feel like you're paying out for. I guess it's like under promise and over deliver. I just want to deliver like crazy to these peeps. So I'm gonna figure something like that out. I think that'd be a good thing to do, because I've been getting like extra promos for this purpose, and it's like those people, you know, I think it'd be nice to go to them. So if you're not a patron, sorry, it's just something that I'm working through in my mind, and I hope you appreciate me being authentic and honest about it. It's what I try to do whenever I can. I try not to hide things from you, and I give you the whole background on everything. Sheesh. Next one is I threw a little question out to you guys last week. I try to get you guys engaged in these comments of these videos. It's hard, guys. It's hard getting you guys to do something outside of just consuming content. It's hard to get you to comment. It's hard to get you to participate in things. It's hard to get you to do pretty much anything. Like I looked back at the end of pretty much every episode. I talk about, like, if you want to support this podcast and you listen to this on Apple Podcasts, leave a review on there. Leave a rating and review, you know? It's not asking a lot, right? And I looked at the numbers, which I think I'm just going to stop doing. There's like 400 people a week that religiously listen to every new episode of this podcast on Apple Podcasts. Guess how many reviews I have in 2021? I've got 3. 3 reviews in 2021. When there's 300 people every single week listening to this, or 400 people. It was like 380 something. And I'm just like, wow, okay, all right. So I guess, you know, I guess, like, I look at it like I'm trying to give you this thing every week, and I'm just asking for like that little thing, that little payback. But, you know, the internet is full of free things, and people don't really want to pay or participate in things, as I'm learning. And it makes me sad, but, you know, if you're listening to this, if you're one of those 380 some people that are listening this week, and you've listened last week and the week before and the week before, and this is your 80th episode, I think at the very least you could do for me is just leave a review. It's not like, and I thought about this, like, do I even care? I don't care about where it ranks. I don't care about people finding it, because trust me, no one's finding this podcast outside of my Lego channel. This is the only place people are finding it. I just want to read your review, whether it's good or bad. Whether you leave me 5 stars or 0 or 1 or whatever it is, I just want to read your review, and that's why I got on there. I didn't get on there to like be like, oh, did 700 people leave me a review? No, I just wanted to see what people are saying, and it was awesome seeing the positive reviews on there. But it was heartbreaking to see that only 3 people, especially when I bring it up all the time, and it went in your ears, and then like, and that's all it went. But I don't know. I'm not bitter. I'm not bitter about it. I asked you a question though, back to me trying to engage with you guys. If you had $10,000, what would you spend it on? What's that thing that you would do? And there was a lot of common answers here. Pay off debt was a common one. I can tell who the adults are out here. Buy Lego. That was a common one. I can tell who the kids are out here. Invest it. Kind of goes along with paying off debt. Give it to charity. I was really excited to see that. I saw a lot of people saying, like, if I got it, I would pay it forward, and I like that. But what I love the most, the comment that I love the most, was from Mateo Hans, who says 10,000 would completely change my life. I would spend $1,000 on a new Acer laptop. This guy, he goes into it. So I can render and edit faster and play better video games with friends. $3,000 would be spent on gym equipment, because exercising makes me happy, and all the gyms are closed for almost a year and a half. I wouldn't have to travel to the gym, pay for memberships, or deal with annoying people. With $500, I would take my mom and sister shopping. $500 would be spent on the Lego 1989 Batmobile, Kylo Ren shuttle, and 3 AAT sets. $700 would be spent on a Sony phone, and I would use it to start my own Lego channel. $300 would be used to buy things for my channel. Remaining $4,000 would be invested in gold and silver and used with my other savings in 10 years when I hit mid-30s to buy land and house. I would be happy, healthy, set and present with editing jobs. Because of new laptop, those jobs would give traffic to my own channels, and mixed with regular job and investments, I would be able to buy a house and land and have my future set, and I would start my own family. Holy moly! I love that. This guy, like, he like literally sat down and he's like, I'd use this. I haven't done the math on it to see if it all adds up to 10,000, but I wouldn't be surprised if it did. And I love that you thought about this. And I wish I was like Mr. Beast, where I was just like, I put $10,000 in your account right now. Brickitect isn't quite to that level yet, but maybe someday we will be. Because I just love somebody with a plan, like I said. And as fun as it is just to say give it to charity or pay off debt or whatever, I like where you're going. And I think regardless if you had a free $10,000 isn't hard to earn. Like, you could do it, and you could set your life up like this. You got to start with the small things. Try to get 1,000, get that laptop. And then with the money you're earning from your stuff, maybe you could invest that into Lego stuff or your channel, and then get the exercise equipment and then invest it. Like, you could do so many things. But all of those things I feel like are great investments, and not only in your hobby but your future. And I just like appreciate you taking the time. Out of all the people that have listened to me ask, that's the one that really caught me. So thank you for participating in that. I have a question for you guys this week. And this was inspired by a comment that I got on a post. It was, what is the difference between collecting and hoarding? How do those things compare? What's the difference between those? I'll tell you what I think about this, and then you can tell me what you think, especially after me going off on my rant. This is your time. I'll give you two choices. I'll give you this one, collecting versus hoarding, or we'll simplify the other one to what is the thing that you could buy for $100 that would most dramatically impact your life in a positive way, outside of Lego. No Lego talk on there, guys. You know better. This is Missing Pieces. The podcast, the Lego podcast, it's not about Lego. What could you spend $100 on that would dramatically impact your life in a positive way? Like a piece of, like a tool, a book, whatever. I don't know what it would be. Let me know what that is. But if you don't want to answer that one, I'm going to give you options. What's the difference between collecting and hoarding? For me, a collector is just an organized hoarder. You have your hoard of things, but it's in an orderly fashion, which is what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to change my hoard to a collection. Hoarders also tend to collect things that have zero value to pretty much everyone. Like, you might think, a lot of people might think that collecting sports cards or Lego has no value, but when you collect like empty soda cans, you collect old newspapers, you collect just things most people would consider to be trash, that's hoarding. Hoarding is when your collection starts negatively affecting your life. When you walk into your room and you can't walk through it because there's stuff everywhere, that's a hoard. If you are risking the safety of yourself and your family and your pets, that's a hoard. If you've seen the show Hoarders, that's a hoard. Collecting is a little different. Collecting is like a focus thing where you have like one thing in particular, or maybe a couple things in particular that you're trying to gather. Both things can be unhealthy. Collecting can be unhealthy as well. The quest for stuff can really be something that gets out of hand, and you need to question, if you're a collector, are you getting value out of these things? Is this making you happy? Is having those hundreds of Lego boxes in moving boxes in your storage room, is that providing value in your life? Some people would say yes, like that is something that you love. Some people would say no, and they're at the recycling center. It all just comes down to the person, but that's what I think is the difference between collecting and hoarding. And I would love to hear from you about what you think about that. Do it. Just kidding. Do whatever you want. Let's go on to the final segment of today's episode, which is the wins of the week. And you guys really came through with wins of the week. We're going to go rapid fire here through these. If you guys didn't know what win of the week is, it's a little thing that I share at the very end of the episode where I just have somebody share the good thing that happened this week. What's your favorite thing that happened? And we try to send the episode off on a positive note with some good things that are happening in the world, starting with Lego Jedi Lego Arts. It says, win of the week, gardening for 2 hours while being kept company by two robins and a squirrel. Wildlife is rare around here. So win of the week can be something small. It doesn't have to be like, I climbed Mount Everest. It can be, I gardened and there was a bird and a squirrel out there that I really enjoyed their company. Thank you for sharing that. Next one comes from Brickhaven Project. It says, hey Greg, my win of the week was finally getting out of state for the first time to go to the Bricks and Minifigs in Michigan. I got some really cool retired sets. There you go. Win of the week. I'm happy for you. Next one comes from Gold Puffin. Part of the larger comment says, my win of the week was being able to socialize with friends outside as the lockdown has eased a little bit in the UK. Got to hang out with some people who I've hardly seen since September due to all the restrictions. My other win of the week was being able to give away a Lego set to someone who got a lot of joy out of receiving it. So your win could actually be someone else's win too. Rex the Reviewer says, great podcast. My win of the week was getting an A+ on a math quiz. That's a win. Next one comes from Padawan Brick. Says, hope everyone had a good Easter. Also, Greg, I have a win of the week. I finally cleaned up my room and redid my shelves. And I also built the carrot house, which is very cute. I agree. We built it as well. You'll see it in the vlog that's coming out today. Next one comes from Golden Light Pictures. It says, Happy Easter, Greg. I do have some wins of the week. If we're still doing those. I registered for a film camp. My dream career is filmmaking. And I got my first cell phone over the weekend. Definitely some big steps. You just got a movie studio in your pocket. And I would think, as a person that's dreaming of doing filmmaking, I bet you can do some very interesting things with that phone. And I'm excited to see the videos that you come up with, or the movies that you come up with, I should say. Next one is from Krishan. Hopefully I'm saying that right. It says, Dear Greg, this is my first time ever watching a Missing Pieces podcast. Wow, we got a new person. So many things you said inspired me. My one of the week was going to a fun Amish restaurant for Easter dinner and petting and feeding goats. You continue on with YouTube and have a great life in general. From Krishan, or Christian. Well, thank you so much. Thank you for joining us here on Missing Pieces. I hope you're here again for this week. If you came back, I think that's pretty epic. So I hope you had fun with the goats. Goats are like so darn cute. I want one, but oh man, they're a nuisance too. Next one comes from Sunshine on a Rainy Brick. It says, my win of the week, total mom win. Starting into decluttering and got rid of a couple bags of my old clothes. Some as old as ironic. I'm sorry I'm butchering this. That was a joke that I made about Alanis Morissette's ironic song from last week. It's only the beginning, but it felt so good. Yeah, we're in the same boat. We're like getting rid of things that aren't serving us anymore. Look around your space and look at everything you have in your room or your house or whatever you have. Is that thing that you're looking at right now, is that serving you in some way? And it can be something that's sitting there and you're just like, I love to look at that. It brings me a smile every time I see it. But if it's like some old clothes you haven't worn in a year, go donate them. There's someone out there that could use that probably. And if you're not using it, it frees up space for other things, or maybe nothing, just to clear out. Congratulations on getting things cleaned up, though, and decluttered, Sunshine. Next one comes from Lincoln. He says, Hey, Greg, my one of the week was finally getting rid of my old Lego boxes, which you inspired. Hope Clark had a great first day of school, and he goes back, and when he goes back, wish you the best of luck and keep up the great work, Greg. Thank you for taking your time to make these videos. God bless y'all. Dude, thank you for taking your time to listen to these. Clark had a great day, as you heard earlier, and I'm proud of you for getting rid of your boxes if that was something that you were trying to do for a while, because we're kind of in the same boat there. But I'm happy to inspire you a little bit. Next win comes from LMS Productions. Says, Hey, Greg, one of your few Spotify listeners here. Someone from Spotify. I really don't comment a lot because I find whenever I go to the comment after listening to the podcast, I always forget what your questions were. But I know you always love wins of the week, so I'll give you one. This past week, I had baseball tryouts, and even though I don't know if I'm going to make it, I still had a great time. I learned a lot and hope to make the team. I also started to upload more on my channel and gained a sub today. What I love about your win of the week should be the wins that's extended over to the people that didn't participate in the contest. You said, I didn't know if I'm going to make it or win a spot on the team, but I still had a great time. I learned a lot and hope to make the team. There's more things that come out of doing something than just the end result, right? Like, you can have fun there, you can learn something, you can get better, you could like make a friend. Like, there's all these things that could transpire, and all of those things can happen without you actually making the team. So don't always just focus on the destination, focus on the journey. And we've talked about this before. Advice detect. I can't resist. I'm sorry, guys. Good luck in getting the team. Give me an update if you make it or if you don't make it, because we'll celebrate you anyways. Next one here comes from TJ Bricks. He says, Hi, Greg. Thank you for the episode. I've really been enjoying these while I'm at work. Just this turn up phrase from last week is amazing, and I've started to apply that to my university studies as well as my MFL learning, so thank you. Good luck to Clark at kindergarten and happy Easter. P.S. My win of the week was getting an 18-day streak on my language learning that I'm doing online. Well, congratulations, man. I'm happy for you, and I agree. And some of the UK peeps just say turn up. I say just show up, just be there. That's part of the battle and the first step to victory. I would say, if we're going to make this two parts, show up and just put a little effort in. Put as much effort as you're comfortable in putting into, and you're going to be ahead of a lot of people there. Cody and I were actually talking about this morning with employers and jobs, and especially like entry-level jobs or jobs like you would get as like a high school graduate or high school student. To honestly make it as an employee, literally all you have to do is show up for the job and do what you were trained to do or told to do. If you do those two things, you are going to be ahead of so many other people that are in that same position. Because how many people call off? How many people suck at their job? How many people just don't care? How many people quit? If you're just that guy or girl that shows up there, does what you're told to do, don't get in any trouble, don't do anything bad, you're probably going to be on the path to management within no time, because you're like that one person that puts the effort in, whereas everyone else is too lazy or doesn't want to, because everyone wants things handed to them without putting work in. Be that one person, and your life's going to be so much easier, even though it may seem a little harder. We're going to end this with Brad's Bricks, who covered pretty much every part of the episode last week and is a good friend of mine and Patreon detector. He says, "Excellent missing pieces episode, my friend." He called me his friend. When you were talking about the comment from Padawan Bricks about every day being special, it reminded me of the resiliency training I get in the Army. One of the exercises we do is called Hunt the Good Stuff. It counteracts a negativity bias to create a positive emotion and to notice and analyze what is good. I also find this helps me during the week besides living in day-type compartments. But if I had $10,000, I would use half of it to pay off some debt, and the other half I would invest into something that would grow the money for my future. Again, another adult making smart decisions. I'm excited for the direction you're taking with your channels and to follow you on your journey. My win of the week was finally seeing my Spring Lantern Festival was shipped and getting the NASA space shuttle. My wallet is hating me now. And I think we can all relate to that. You buy Lego, your wallet's like, oh, help me, I'm on life support. But Brad, thank you so much for taking the time to comment on pretty much every aspect of last week's episode. I appreciate hearing from you, and dude, I hope you enjoy your new Lego sets and your wallet will recover, I'm sure. For everyone else out there that made it this far in this episode, I know we're getting pretty deep into this. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for listening to me talk about my week, even though there was very little Lego talk there. Again, I think it's incredible that there's a group of people out there that care enough about us and like what we're doing, that I don't have to do a Lego haul or show you like the next big thing. We're on the cusp of all the new stuff, that you actually care enough to be here. And again, I super appreciate that. Thank you again for all the positivity this week with the changeover into the boring solo Greg vlogs during the week as I attempt to get organized. Thank you for the well wishes for Clark Man in kindergarten. He's got his next week coming up. I've got a lot of stuff planned for this week with making videos and sharing that stuff with you, and I'm really excited to do it. If you want to support this podcast, I'll say it again, even though none of you will. You can leave some listener feedback on this. You can talk about the things that I asked you or things that were brought up in this episode. You can throw out a whole new topic out there, like the collecting versus hoarding thing. I love to get something that comes from you instead of like the limited things that are running around in my brain. You can join us on Patreon if you want to do that. If you want to be a part of the community there, you're welcome to join us. We'd love to have you. Be welcomed with open arms with all the peeps there. You can leave a review on Apple Podcasts or wherever you want to leave it if you want to. Most of all, and that's how I always like to end it, most of all, you can just enjoy the episode and come back next week for some more, hopefully entertaining, inspiring, encouraging commentary from your favorite Lego YouTuber that doesn't talk about YouTube or Lego. Thank you guys for watching, and as always, we'll find you in the next Missing Pieces.